So this is going to take 2 minutes to mix it. So like if you leave it in there, it'll start getting warm. My name is Erin Virta. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota. I've always had kind of creative endeavors, so I've always been involved with theater or some form of arts. In high school, I got into photography. Art never seemed like something practical, you know? So I ended up going towards a business route in college. It was something always in the back of my mind. It was one of those things, I had a little gray box with all my paint supplies in it, and every so often I'd pull it out and I would paint. And it was something nobody really knew I did. I didn't really talk about it. I just, you know, something to do as a stress reliever in college, and then something to do when you started working. And 3 years ago, I started Artful Palette, so I started doing art classes. I saw on Facebook there was a post that they were looking for artists, you know, call for artists. So I submitted, I think, in the very last minute, kind of a one-sheet portfolio of some of the work that I've done. And so I submitted that in and was notified that I won, so, which I was really surprised at first. I thought, oh cool, I'm like a finalist, that's pretty awesome. When I got the box of lottery tickets, the first thing I did was kind of go through with a paper punch and kind of cut out the different colorways and see, okay, this is my palette, this is what I have, these are the textures, what do I want to do with this? The theme was iconic Minnesota summer, and so for me, being on the water with a kayak, looking at the shoreline, that just kind of seemed like a perfect scene. I would say the hardest part was you're limited to what you have. I really wanted to only use lottery tickets. I didn't want to have to fill in with paint. I didn't want to have to use anything other than glue. I purposely avoided working with the pieces that actually scratch off, just because it's kind of frustrating when you think you're working with one colorway and all of a sudden it's purple or it's pink, or, you know, as you get it down on the canvas. I took a star punch, and that's how I got the initial shape for the trees. The water is just one variety of lottery tickets that I used. And then to get the sky, I could only get 3 cuts out of each lottery ticket to make the sky. The next layer, we're going to do a gloss resin layer on top of that, just to kind of seal everything in and make it nice and shiny and complete. It's the perfect weather for this. It needs to be about 70 degrees. This is my first real attempt working, you know, with paper art. It's tedious. That I didn't expect. As I was creating it, I was joking that the piece was, you know, basically me cutting, gluing, and cursing. Because when you're working with teeny tiny little pieces of cardboard, sometimes you happen to cut off the top of the tree or whatever you're working with. So the piece will be available at Art and Bayfront Park, and people can register to win it. I am excited. I have been there a few times, so just to see the difference in creativity and what people are doing. And it's just always fun to get creative inspiration from other people. So I think, you know, anybody who's creating, you can bounce off ideas from each other. I mean, you really never know where you're going to be inspired. I think the important thing is just to create. I mean, that's the biggest hurdle, is that so many people have, you know, their own preconceived notions that they don't even start. So it's just starting and making and creating something. You know, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's really that journey of creation.